Пи отдает свое сердце Софии, чтобы ее спасти, это врать. Так, надеюсь, это не попадет на запись Топанка 2. А. Но, возвращаясь к Lies of P, офигенно.
I want to give a shout out to all the runners coming in under estimate and everyone working behind the scenes who have made this GDQ just like flawless across the board. So many backup runs have gotten in. It's been incredible. I've been coming to GDQs for 10 years now, and this is like the best one. So that's just so impressive to me. Before we hop into this and we explain some stuff, my couch can introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Maxilobes. I speedrun a lot of horror games, but this one is the non-horror game
Так,
that
у
I
нас там
speedrun
не
sometimes, but it's
Unrestricted.
so
В
good, I'm
общем,
gonna sell you on it, I swear.
Трепанг
Hello,
2
GDQ viewers. My screen name is
на
Squidward Muffin, and I've
нашем
never played this game before.
канале
Well,
RUSC
let me
есть
tell you a thing about
запись
Trepang2.
рано
Oh.
Трепанг 2
Yeah, so it's
с
Trepang2, Trepang3,
нашего
depending on who you
Рускатона.
ask. This was
Поэтому
built by
все,
Trepang
кто хочет
Studios.
посмотреть
It was also
высококачественное
through, like,
комментирование
whoever
Трепанг
for
2,
Trepang
заходят
1 is
на
there
видео по
thing on
Трепанг
their
2
end.
с
It's a
Рускатона, потому
side-scrolling
что там
2D
раннер
platformer about
комментирует
escape.
эту игру,
It's great for
а не
fun games. It has no
комментирование на
relevance to
ран.
this game at
В
all.
остальном, большая часть
That's
рана
where the
пройдет
theme
в
comes from. So
ООБ.
we're gonna hop into
Очень
this.
бодрая игра.
We got some story stuff
В
to
чем-то
break down. So we're gonna
наследует
go through a
идеи
lot of stuff.
эфир.
So we have a little cutscene we're gonna skip, and then
Прям
time will start
хорошо.
after that. And 3, 2, 1, go.
2-1, начали. В общем,
All right, we are waking up as Subject 106. We are a super soldier
объект
experiment by the
1.0.6.
company known
Мы
as the Syndicate,
суперсолдат,
or not really a company, but
как
just a
и
group named the
полагается,
Syndicate. And we are
рядовой
captured by
суперсолдат.
a different corporation known as
Потому
Horizon and kind of
что
locked away
таких,
inside
как
their
мы, как
station where we're
минимум,
waking
еще
up.
105
We're
было.
handcuffed and we don't really know what's going on, but we're just going to squeeze through here, get a little bit tutorial action. If you're looking at my keybinds and you're like, why is interact on 0? That's really weird. That's just a mouse keybind I have. We need a lot of stuff in interact. It's actually a super low priority for us, so I put it on a mouse button where I can have other stuff on my keyboard. So here we're going to go into Cloak, one of our abilities. We're not going to see it too much, but it brings up the UI on the center of the screen. So that little bar on the right that's filling up now, that is our stealth. And that will auto-regen over time. We don't really have to worry about it too much, like I said, we're barely ever going to see it. On the left-hand side, the one that wasn't filling up is what's known as focus, which allows us to go in slow-mo, bullet time, and it is very, very important for the run, but it doesn't auto-regen. You have to kill NPCs, mainly enemies,
Он говорит, что
to get that
здесь нет
back up. So
авторегена,
we're
вот
gonna go
надо
through here, and we're
уничтожать
coming up on the
противников.
end of the walking section. But yeah, we are a super soldier, and we are not the only super soldier, because we are 106. There were 105 that came before us, some of which we will see and encounter throughout here. And it's kind of the whole plot point of the game. And you may have heard this was like a stealth thing. There's a lot of movement, some horror here and there, lots of blood, lots of guts. So we're going to pick up our first weapon. We're going to crouch right before it so that when we actually
Он
pick it up,
сразу
we don't have
предупреждает,
to
что
expect animation
много крови,
to get
много
moving
кишков.
very fast. So we're just popping some locks. And the white bar at the bottom is the stamina. If Maxie wants to kind of talk about that real quick.
So
Внизу у
stamina
нас
is
сразу
actually
видно
super fun in this game. You're gonna
стамину.
see BT use a lot of slides and a lot of jumps after those
И,
slides.
как видите, мы используем очень много слайдов и прыжков. И стамина регенится при уничтожении врагов, условно, да? Уничтожении, победе над врагами. Поэтому мы будем использовать основную стамину и желтую стамину, которую нам дают за победу над врагами, чтобы скипать врагов.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different
Вот так
movement
вот.
tech that you can do. Ragdolls go flying everywhere. It's so much fun. Depending on the map layout, how tight the corridors are, they are very small here, very fear-inspired. We're just doing a whole bunch of these slide cancels where you start a slide and then get out of it.
Вот здесь вот будет очень много отменно.
Some of the momentum you get from starting a slide.
Это
But you only really want to do that if you have
скольжение.
stamina, which is that yellow bar fading down.
Slide cancel называется на английском. Это отмена скольжения, отмена анимации скольжения персонажа, за счет чего мы ускоряемся довольно-таки сильно.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. Making our way through the first level here, and we're going to encounter one of the other super soldiers. This is 105, who came to free us, and in a tragic fashion, he played the game of Sudoku and lost. This is a really cool sword. everybody wants it added to the game, but so far it's not. So here's his coin that says 105 on it. A fallen brother. I'm just gonna give him a little pat on the back, and we'll see him next time. So continuing on, we have
Ну,
the
с ним все
last
будет в порядке,
level,
чат.
which
Мы,
gets a little bit
видите, его
trickier,
похлопали по
a little more
плечу,
fighting,
так что
and one of the
гарантирую,
harder
все
skips
окей.
to do, and one of the harder skips to learn, for people getting into it
Вот
initially. So
сейчас
we're just
будет,
gonna
кстати, один из
take out
сложнейших
these
скипов,
5
которые
guys,
надо
use the
делать
shotgun,
и
the
которому
most
сложно
useful
научиться.
weapon in the entire game. We're going to pick up the assault rifle. You can only carry 2 weapons at any given time. It's pretty much always
Мы
gonna be
можем
shotgun
нанести
and
только два
sniper,
оружия,
depending on our
поэтому
needs.
одно из них всегда
So
будет
kill the
штурмовая
heavy
винтовка,
armor,
потому
get
что она
the elevator.
суперэффективна.
Try to grab one of these guys. And we don't have any grenades. You can see that on the bottom right, but we can attach one to one of these guys. And if we get lucky, no, okay. You can get rid of these shield guys. We're just gonna slide into them, kick them around.
Yeah, so something that's great about Trepang is that just like Fear, it's a spiritual successor basically, there's a lot of melee. So BT BT is slide kicking, which makes the enemies kind of fall over.
Вот здесь вот
and
они
it makes
смеются
them
с того,
fall
что
over.
слайд-кики очень
You
забавно
also notice
работают
in
с
some
физикой игры.
locations, BT is clearing out all of the enemies, where in some cases he'll only kill one and then move on from there. And so there are certain areas where he does have to kill a list of enemies, which is commonly referred to in speedrunning as an arena.
Ну вот здесь вот отмечают, что во многих локациях мы вообще врагов не убиваем, в других локациях мы зачищаем всех. Все зависит от того, как построены арены в уровнях. Будет еще ОБ секции. F. Какой F, чат? Кому там F? А, все нормально. Я-то уж думал, это вы нашему стриму F. Какой F? Мы только начали ночь.
Failed the trick. We go a little bit further back in the level, but we need to not go too far into this room. I'll let Maxie take over for a second.
So BT is going to be doing some jump kicks, and these jump kicks can actually just kick walls to...
Абсолютно согласен. Очень скользкий тип.
That's what BT did to deload the room that he was in.
Вот эта вот манипуляция нужна для того, чтобы была выгрузить локацию из памяти игры, да, вы могли в нее запрыгнуть
Yeah, so
и
getting far enough away
пройти.
here actually deloads by hitting a certain trigger. And then because that is now deloaded,
Дальше
you can use this to
нужно...
go out of
Давай.
bounds, then wall kick using the downward momentum causes that to be inverted,
О,
giving him
наконец.
some additional upwards movement.
Пропустите триггеры и все. Мы в ОБ и просто пропускаем триггеры, прыгаем достаточно высоко, чтобы заспамить
Wow.
нужную нам локацию. Все. Изи.
Yeah, so like usually you don't really want to go in slow-mo if you can help it in a speed run because you're going slower. Why would you want to do that? But because of the way the kicks work, they channel all of your momentum the opposite direction that you kick. So if we get a lot of speed going horizontally and then kick straight down, we're going to go flying straight up in the air.
Trepang.
Squared. Or two, possibly. But yeah, going in the slow-mo allows you to get a lot of speed really quickly. We'll also see it in the next level. If you slide off of something, you get a lot of speed as well. So mixing the two, you can get a whole bunch and just kick straight up into there. There are 5 main levels basically in this game, and between each of the 5 levels, you come to the safe house, which is kind of like your hub. You can do optional stuff here. There's a firing range. One of the first things it makes us do is pick up some cosmetics. So we're just going to apply that real quick. You're going to notice I have some bright red shoes on, which makes kicking a little bit easier to see where my feet are placed. So these yellow markers on the map, these are our main objectives. We'll have green ones later on.
Вот это, кстати, система карты, выбор миссий не очень, мне так кажется, удачная идея. Вот совсем уж если на то пошло.
We just basically come in here, get the story to progress, and to go back to the helicopter. So we're going to write a little bit of a helicopter into the next part. So if you got some donations, I'm sure you do. You can go ahead and read them.
I do. I have a $500 donation from Numbers saying, so excited to see Trepang2 at a GDQ.
Почти
Also,
эфира
come on,
выглядит
chat,
как-то
let's
не
get that
Hogwarts
boss rush
Street.
incentive
По
met.
факту, да.
Give you an update on the Lost Judgment incentive. Super Amon, we've raised over 7,000 out of the 50,000. The boss gauntlet for Lost Judgment. That's the next game. We've raised almost 4,000 out of the 120,000 for that.
Yeah, you're going to want to see that boss gauntlet. It is so cool.
It's amazing. We also have a $50 donation from Sweet Ola saying, currently traveling home from AGDQ, what better way than to watch more AGDQ while I wait for my flights home? Good luck on the run, BT.
Yo, sweet, thank you so much. It was fantastic to meet you.
А я не знаю, чаты, если мы тут тихо подменим раны с рана ГДК на ран с Рускатона. Вы заметите подмену? Там тоже у нас вебки есть у раннера. И мне и коммит ничего не придется. В общем-то, то, что вы видите сейчас, это, да, скип через потолок. Я не знаю, насколько сильно вы видите вперед меня, наверное, секунды 3 разницы. Просто то, что для меня происходит 3 секунды назад, в вашем времени только что произошло. Поэтому не всегда мои комментарии будут казаться вам своевременными, просто у нас эти скипы получались лучше у СПД ДКД. Так что... Not bad, not bad.
The mantling system, vaulting system, whatever you want to call it, is really, really generous to it. You can grab stuff from very far away, but yeah, this is one of the arenas where we're kind of...
Основная тактика в Unrestricted спидране, вот Unrestricted без ограничений, любой процент без ограничений, заключается в том, что мы скипаем вообще все арены, какие только можем скипнуть. Вы видите, кстати, первого мини-босса, врага мини-босса, условно так обозначу, которого достаточно хп, чтобы выдержать пару выстрелов с дробовика в голову.
Right. So for most arenas, we're going to like get into the arena when the enemies are spawning. So as long as we know where they are, we should be good to go. But there's a few of them that they spawn in as we're running to it. So we're gonna actually go in slow-mo here to make throwing a grenade at these guys easier. Which, if a grenade hits somebody, it will instantly blow up instead of kind of lingering around for a little bit. All right, now we need to get to the other side before these guys start spreading out. Chuck a grenade.
Oh, that was a great hit right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you haven't noticed, this game's really gory.
Как вы видите, эта игра довольно-таки жестокая.
There's one guy back here. And sometimes enemies can survive grenades and go flying across the map because of the ragdoll system, and it makes it really hard to track them. Anyway, this breach charge is going to drop down in a random spot, and then sometimes it'll just teleport if you wait long enough. I didn't do this time, okay. So we do play on a down patch version of the game for 2 different skips, which makes sense. They're kind of easy to find if you're checking all the corners, but yeah, this one we just...
Yeah, this one's pretty funny.
And now we're out of bounds.
The stairs to nowhere. So BT's going to do some jump kicks. Let's get some height.
Yeah, so this skip, I wasn't around when it was like being developed, but it went through several iterations. It's originally was known as the Mothman skip, which we will touch on him in just a little bit, but then it was like the Super Mothman skip, and then the Giga Mothman skip, and the Super Extended, and it's gotten so many names now. It's pretty crazy. So we do another like trigger hit right there, and we're gonna wait for him to finish his dialogue, and that will let us slide off here and get to the bottom.
Да, ХОП. Ну, если быть точным, отличие от Фира главное у Трепанга это в том, что Трепанг это супер динамичный шутер, забирающий у Фира стилистику оружия и эффективность отстрела врагов главным героем, как-то так, с небольшим замедлением времени, но Фиром не является. Даже близко не является Фиром, потому что Фир был не столько динамичным, расстрелом кучи врагов и замедлением времени. Ох, как же он хорошо. Хорошо, прям отлично. Сколько атмосферным таким экшен-хоррором, в котором очень такой серьезный, умненький ИИ был. Потому что я недавно перепроходил второй эфир, и он все еще смотрится офигенно. Просто космически офигенно.
Just a few numbers before us, and he was kind of just researching a whole bunch of stuff, doing evil sciencey things, and he created what was known as the Mothman, and he actually let Mothman loose, being number subject 97. These are all different attempts at like super soldier programs and just really powerful weapons. So we just passed where we'd meet Dr. Emerson, but he's actually dead, and now we're coming up to this generator part. This is a little bit loud, a little headphone warning. So go into this. But we have to destroy these 4 generators by throwing these like goopy, moldy Resident Evil kind of enemies into them. So to be able to grab them quickly, we're just going to slide into them, and as they're being ragdolled away, we're just going to grab onto them. Yeah, that was that segment. It's kind of weird, but hey, here's Mothman. There's a little bit of horror in this game.
Just a tad bit.
So we're just gonna run away. We will be turning around, dealing with Mothman eventually, but not right now. We need to make our way to our elevator.
Yeah, and this game's soundtrack, by the way, if you haven't noticed, is crazy good.
Yeah,
so good.
Shout outs to Brandon McKagan. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his last name, but a fun little connection.
Yes.
While I do this fun little trick. I ran Sprawl just a couple days ago for GDQ as well, and while Revel, the dev we had on commentary, did write all of the music for Sprawl, they actually got Brandon, that worked on this game's soundtrack, to do the credit song for that, so a little bit of a weird crossover running both of these. But yeah, he's just waiting on the elevator like everyone at GDQ. He's just hanging out with me. You're just supposed to survive this part, and there's not a whole lot to do, but we're going to talk about the shotgun. So we typically have 8 shots at max. If you have 1 shot or 2 shots left, they do more damage. So we're going to get it down to 6 because we need to use 4 shots for some friendly NPCs. It'll make sense in a second, which will then get us down to 2 shots for Mothman, and we're just kind of waiting for this elevator, which is going to be a minute and a half. So if you've got some donations, you're free to read them.
All right, we have a $25 donation from Gulch2 saying, happy to see Trepang come off backup. Good luck on the run, BT. We have a $25 donation from Thorcat that says, go Blood Thunder, speeding. And we have a $5 donation from Saju.
Мне немного неудобный чат, потому что к Трепангу 2 я был не готов. Он проявился из ниоткуда. Я думал, сейчас Lost Judgment будет, потом Зельда, а потом Балдуры. А у нас тут Трепанг появился.
Many thanks to every single person involved in this very, very, very wholesome event.
Shout out to everyone that just donated and that's donating, and maybe you're not getting your comments read. But Thorcat, you heard, that's my mom who watches all of these events, so much love to her.
Нужно призвать СПД до КУД, чтобы он успевал комментировать все, что происходит в ране.
We're about to cause a little bit more. So we're coming out of the elevator. We're going to just take off 4 enemies. For whatever reason, this gets the next gate open a little bit earlier. And once we go through here, Mothman's going to pop back up, and we're going to try to do a quick kill. 1 shot, 2 shots, skip the cutscene, and we're done.
Very nice.
Вот это, кстати, было очень быстро.
So one thing that, like, there's a little bit of downtime in this run, which is perfectly fine. But if you're getting into this, it's like a really great practice. So just like kind of run around, do these kicks. You can do some crazy stuff. You can get up here in the helicopter. It's not going to kill you. But I will do a shout out to myself real quick. If you want to learn how to run this category, the jump kicks look fun, which they are. A couple months ago, I did make a full game tutorial breaking down all the movement, all the
Сейчас он
skips,
говорит, если
everything you need to know.
вы хотите узнать, как ранить эту игру, я сделал не так давно туториал, поэтому я использую промоушен, чтобы использовать промоушен. У нас на канале RUSC, на Рускатоне был ран этой игры от СПД до КУД, так что вы тоже там можете посмотреть, как ранится все это дело, с русским комментировать.
So you get stuff like big head mode and wacky voice mode. You get infinite ammo, infinite stamina. It's super, super fun. It makes it obviously, well, faster, but it just makes it, just makes it super crazy.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so, the devs are awesome.
This is a little bit of a story device. It's our one exposition in the warehouse here.
Сейчас нам говорят, что это огромный девайс, важный для истории. Тут огромная экспозиция, но у нас тут особо нет времени. Мы тут спидраним и заняты скипами.
Next story objective, and then we're heading off to Jorvik Castle, so you got time for some more donations.
All right, we have a $25 donation from Biotic Bash saying, BT, my fiance and I have loved watching you practice this run, and we're so pumped to see you showing it off. Also, to everyone else, remember to check if your company matches your donations. Every dollar helps towards this amazing cause. And we have a $50 donation from Herminator that says, good luck on the run. We also have incentives open. Please be sure to select one of the incentives. The Super Amon boss fight, we've got almost $8,000 out of the $50,000. That's the next run. That's in Lost Judgment. You want to see that, I promise. Be sure to select one of the incentives after you put in your amount. Got time for one more?
Yep.
How about this $5,000 donation from Joe with no comment? But thank you so much for that, Joe. And also we have a $25 donation from Deficientist that says, extra 55 if you can pronounce my name. Thank you, AGDQ, as usual. I hope to see your $55 come in later towards that Super Amon boss fight. How about that?
So here we are in Jorvik Castle. This is the big arena fight section of the game. We're going to be seeing this courtyard quite a few times. We're going to kill off some enemies. This is one where they can kind of spread around. So not only do we have the visual indicators being shown if we get close to them, we can hear them, but the snipers also have their blue tracking beams that
Тут есть невидимые враги,
not super reliable, but
которых мы мало того, что можем увидеть, если подойдем к ним близко, так вдобавок еще можем их услышать. Так что не то, что большая проблема для нас.
So while the courtyard just got cleared, we have 3 more waves of enemies in this little spot. And we're not going to go right up to the door, because if enemies see you before they come out of where they spawn in, they will just hide back there and make it incredibly hard to kill them. And
Сейчас он говорит, что мы ждем врагов за кустиком, потому что если они выйдут и увидят нас, то они сразу спрячутся, поэтому мы их поджидали.
So Jorvik Castle is home to the occultist and the patriarch, who is their leader. He's yet again another subject that we will encounter here in a little bit. But they're doing some wacky stuff over here as well. Our goal for this level is to find a man named Dr. Kramer, find out what he was doing. He was over here studying the cultist experiments and whatnot. He was from Horizon, the big bad evil company that we're trying to stop. So that's the first courtyard, not too bad. We gotta wait for the helicopter to come in. And then one of the scarier tricks we'll have to do after that. So we'll grab a safety save, get some crazy kicks.
Yeah, so something quick about the safety saves is that if BT is aggroed onto an enemy, the game just won't safety save.
Сейчас он нам рассказывает о том, что если мы сагли врагов, то игра не сделает никакого сейва, поэтому единственный способ получить сохранение — это когда все враги уничтожены, либо на нас никто из врагов не реагирует.
Before going to get the autosave, I'll show you. This wall down here just doesn't have collision, so we're going to be coming back to that real quick. That's the other trick that got taken out of the game. Got a down patch for it, unfortunately.
That's understandable.
Oh, yeah. But the reason that this part's so scary is we're going to do a bunch of kicks over the void, which means if you mess up one little kick too late, kick too early, don't get the kind of height you need, you just fall down and...
Мы сейчас забрали чекпоинт, потому что у нас сейчас будет большая серия пинков, которую надо сделать правильно, иначе мы упадем в бездну.
Big kick up top. Another big kick. Okay, that's the scary part of this, but we're not quite done yet. We need to hit a few more triggers, so we're going to load this in.
Сейчас надо забрать еще пару триггеров. Это самый большой скип в игре в текущий момент.
Segmented IL kind of level, it's not really being done because it's just that absurdly crazy. Drop down here, hit one more, and then go back through that bottom half of the wall.
Wow.
That was that trick.
That was incredible, dude. Flawless.
So here we're going to pick up the bolt gun. Actually swapped it back.
It's the bolt launcher.
Yeah, this thing's pretty crazy. Okay, give me my ammo. There we go. So right now, it's not super useful. It has explosive rounds on it, so it's going to fire in a 3 burst and kind of stick to stuff and then eventually it'll blow up. So if you don't hit an enemy right away, they usually just run past it. But if it goes off, it is quite explosive. So we're going to take out some enemies, and then a helicopter is going to show up above us, and there's going to be 3 waves of enemies that drop out. But we're going to stick some of these bolts right to the underside. And so blood and guts go everywhere.
В общем-то, поджидаем вертолет,
So the
который
second package we go
высаживает
down is the grenade launcher, which is
противников,
a
но,
very, very handy
к
weapon.
сожалению, они не выстрелились целыми.
So once again, we just can only have 2 weapons. We're going to have the shotgun for just dealing a lot of damage to single targets, and then something like the bolt gun or the grenade launchers are secondary. So that's the second time we come through the courtyard. We will be back, but we need to go find Dr. Kramer's research. That is, once again, the objective of this level. But he may have heard us coming, so there may be a little bit of a surprise in store. So I haven't quite talked about the long jump system yet, but this is a good time. So you can just do a slide and then a jump. That's a slide and a jump. But if you start a slide, hit sprint to cancel it, and then jump after it within a few frames, you can get a lot of speed and a lot of distance, which is known as a long jump. It also, for some reason, uses less stamina, so it's worth going for, even if you don't get it, because it is quite tricky to time. So if you kind of see me do these hops, and sometimes I go really, really far like that, and sometimes I don't go anywhere, going for long jumps. This is Dr. Kramer. So,
Oh no.
well, he was sent here to study what the cultists were doing. He was kind of a precious resource to Horizon, so they said, you have to check in with us every 30 minutes, and also if your heart rate spikes too high,
So
for whatever
like из нее
reason,
так себе.
you're just gonna turn into goop. So he heard us coming, his heart rate spikes, and he's no longer here. So we're trying to download some information, see what he was up to, what the cult was doing in this little section that looks quite like a little fallout shelter. Downloading some stuff. But we're gonna go through some waves, so the perfect time for some donations.
Absolutely. We have a $10 donation from Dangerous saying, I had already given what I planned for this event, but then BT got another run in, so here's another 10. Good to see 3 of my good speed friends on cam together. Good luck, BT. You're an awesome dude, and I'm glad to see you're still kicking butt all these years later. Hey, Bobby, this dono goes to your choice. That would be Super Amon. We have raised almost $8,500 out of the $50,000 for that In the Law's Judgment run. Thank you so much, Dangerous.
Yeah, great to hear from you, Dangerous.
Yep.
We have
He's the homie.
We have a $14 donation from My Hero Zero saying lots of strawberry jam-filled enemies in this game.
So even though like one grenade should be enough to kill off all the enemies, sometimes they don't quite die and they go flying.
Ну, сейчас вот одной гранатой полностью всего на врагов ликвидируем.
Spawn on this side.
The noise is so good.
The sound design in this game is just top notch, and the music just slaps so hard.
So we're gonna have a sort of mini boss show up here. So we're gonna get our shotgun down to 2 once again. We gotta kind of wait for a little bit, but I like to refer to this as the hallway of frog popes because of these little fountains things. They got the 2 eyes, the big mouth, and the pope hat on. I don't know why these are here, but every time I see them, that's what I think of.
Как видите, довольно просто пройти этот уровень.
You shall respect the frog pope.
So one thing we
He's
haven't really,
dead already.
one thing we haven't really touched on is like the voice acting. We're kind of talking over it, but there's some incredible voice acting. Spooky square coming right towards us. Oh no. Oh, okay, it's something a little bit scarier. So this is the enforcer. Just gonna
И добро пожаловать.
high damage and then reload 2 more shots, and then
Это босс.
he's having a bad day. So we're kind of near like the 2/3 way through.
Ему
this level,
поплохело.
and that's just enough for the big boss of this section to come out to play. So here's the Patriarch.
So it's true. You really are just like me.
He's just like me for real.
Are you any better?
Местная
There's some,
Альма, только
subjects
более
that might be
низкого
a
качества.
little bit older, and he kind of infers that this is not the first time they've sent another subject to come after him. You know, meaning that he's killed many before, and he's fully prepared to kill us as well. I don't know why he just doesn't do it right there, but hey, we're gonna go track him down, give him a little bopping. But first we need to pick up an upgrade that we will not use at all in this entire run. Nope. This is the dual wield serum. A little bit of a funny cutscene. It's gonna pump this in our arm, and now we can carry 2 guns.
The power of science.
Unfortunately, yeah, we can't.
Во имя
Need
науки.
it. There is potentially some really crazy tech if you wanted to get like a segmented run going, where you dual wield grenade launchers and then do kick boost off of those, which it's not only sounds crazy, but is actually crazier than it sounds. Yeah, we're just gonna take out some more
Мы сейчас
enemies.
также с помощью дробовика разбираемся с обязательной партией врагов.
So we can chase after the Patriarch. They're just all around the place. Okay. So we actually play on shadows set to medium, so that when these guys spawn in here, we can see them, and that they're taken care of.
Он еще, кстати, отмечает, что тени стоят на медиуме, потому что можно сразу заметить по теням, когда враги заспамились.
This way.
Это запись. Нет, они говорили про то, что если вы будете ранить сегмент тран, то очень удобно, что здесь лежит гранатомет.
It's like somehow he survived that grenade despite being thrown like 25.
Иногда они как-то переживают эту гранату и их подкидывают к нам.
And that is that fight. So we're gonna pick up the bolt gun, swap it back out. Luckily, there's one here. We're actually gonna get an upgraded for it just in a second, but we need to be on this platform. We're just waiting once again for like an audio trigger.
Ждем на платформе аудиотриггера.
Yeah, so once she says kill the Patriarch, you can go on this little thing and it's going to start going down. You can't go back off of it, and sometimes stuff starts floating. It's very weird, but I'm sure many game devs will tell you that having moving platforms and stuff like that's very hard to program, so we'll see if we have any friends come and join us. Maybe not. Oh!
Yeah.
Strike a pose.
Whoa!
Whoa.
He actually kind of survived. He's just gonna take
Они
it out.
смеются насчет того, что кто-то пережил это падение.
So through this door on our right, we're going to pick up the weapon part, and on our left, we're going to go to a weapon chest, which we've not interacted with at all, and we'll never do it again. But this lets you swap the parts that you have on your weapon. So we're going to go from the explosive mode to the penetrator mode, which turns into an actual bolt launcher. So we're going to shoot one. It's like the nail gun. It's going to stick them to walls, and it's pretty
В
much a
общем-то,
one-shot for most of these
мы
enemies.
взяли улучшение, которое позволяет нам стрелять специальным патроном, который пробивает врагов. Он как бы прибивает их к стене. По факту это ваншот для всего живого. Payday 3, к сожалению, не такой веселый, как эта игра.
So the one time cloaking really helps is during this part, because there's 3 tripwires that will do a lot of damage to you very quickly. So we're going to cloak through those 2, let it regen, and then go to the last one. Enemies can set it off a little early, which is nice if they do, but not big deal if they don't. And right down this hallway is the Patriarch, who
I love this part.
he's got a really cool fight. Usually there's 3 waves, and we're going to try to do it in 2.
Вот здесь будет довольно-таки крутой файт. Обычно тут 3 волны.
It's really silly.
So BT's got the penetrator, the nail gun out.
Но у нас есть пенетратор,
Twice in the head here. Oh, maybe 3 times? Yeah,
поэтому
3 times.
надо
Nice.
О,
That's gonna ensure the 2
3
seconds.
раза в голову им
Run
попасть.
away for a little bit. We got to kill off some enemies.
Ох, аж 3.
We'll just
Они
sneak
рассчитывали
across.
на 2, но аж
Knock
смогли
this pop back
целых
up.
3.
Right here in the middle. 3 more.
1, 2, 3, nice.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Nice fight.
Все, файт закончен.
Well, now they like stay in there.
Как видите, босс был не очень умным, что с нами сражался, столько пуль втанковал в голову,
Yeah, so for whatever
чтобы
reason,
понять,
she
что проще
took
как
bolts to
бы
the head,
уйти на следующую
finishes the
стадию.
second phase instead of the third, and just ends the fight early, which is fantastic. Now we're going into one of the more interesting levels. Not going to spoil anything yet, but this one's a little bit different than the others so far. Gonna run it back out. So the only objective going into Site 83, which is where we're going, is not really a subject that we're chasing down, but an object, kind of like an SCP sort of thing, referred to as Object 83. So there's no cutscene way to start, and while this is a friendly NPC, it will still give us stamina. And I guess the rest of the crew didn't really like him because they just don't react at all.
Oh, watch this climb, by the way. This is going to be incredibly impressive. Wow.
So if you want to talk about the mask on, Maxie, while I'll do this.
The mask?
Yeah. You know about it?
The mask?
There are characters wearing a mask.
You cheap mode runners don't know about the mask.
The mask?
Yeah, so the mask actually, while you're wearing it, you can see kind of the PNG around the screen. That will slow down your top movement speed, so everything becomes a little bit harder.
I didn't even know. What? By how much?
It's like a little bit. I think usually you can go like 15 meters a second top speed, and it takes you down to like 13 or so.
Okay.
Which doesn't sound like a whole bunch, but when you're doing some of these skips and some of the crazier skips you could possibly go for, that makes a world of difference.
Right, yeah.
There's some really, really crazy segmented strats for this level that obviously we're not going to be able to show off. Even if I spent the entire 55 minutes on this alone, I could not actually get it. So we're going to grab here. Whoop, a little too far. Can I save this? Let's see.
Oh. Yeah, and like remember, Chad, the height that or the velocity that BT is able to build by doing those kicks on the ground is dependent on how quickly BT is moving downwards, because it just completely flips the vertical vector and causes him to apply that upwards instead.
Yeah, this time for sure.
The soundtrack is just so good, dude.
It gets even better. Oh no.
This is really difficult, by the way.
This is a hard skip.
I think something else to mention just in general that BT was telling me about before the run is that a lot of these triggers for like deloading and loading the level aren't actually like giant planes. They can be like the size of
Сейчас
like a metaphorical
он говорит, что
basketball
очень многие
field, if you can
триггеры,
imagine.
которые
So, like, a lot of these
загружают
tricks in general, not just
локацию,
the climbs, which you can actually see, but then also hitting these triggers to be able to
очень
access the
удобно
certain
для
areas
нас
out of bounds
расположены,
that
потому
be able to get
что
back in bounds.
их
Can
легко
be
задеть.
incredibly precise. Nice. Okay.
Then we're just going to hit a trigger against this wall, and then once we get some stamina back, we're going to go flying off in this direction. Whee!
Funk.
Luckily, there's no fall damage. We're going
Тот
to
момент,
save
когда раннерам
and
по-настоящему
load.
весело.
Now we need to get back in bounds, so
Вот это я
we'll
понимаю,
trigger
ставка.
a little bit of a
Огонь.
light switch. And then we need to get over here so we can kind of jump, and eventually it's just going to warp us back in bounds. So if you fail the like stealth segment here, you get teleported back to this spot. The mask comes off, which is really great. Tells us to not run, but we're not going to listen to it at all.
Yeah, we're speedrunners. What do you expect?
These doors are really just not wanting to open. So we're going to crouch because we're going to see this giant black cloud ahead of us. That's what caught us before. And because of how we get into the level, it's always going to be kind of in front of us. We can outrun it to a certain degree, but it's just kind of taking up the whole hallway, so we can't get past it. Just going to sneak to the side.
Don't want to get spooky face jump scared again.
And all of the corridors in this level are really, really tight and intertwined. So it's really hard to go fast with the different slide mechanics and whatnot. But we're just going to kind of do some spam slide cancels.
Oh yeah, that was sick.
Okay. And now we have been teleported because of Object 83 and its shenanigans. Welcome to the back rooms. These are indeed what the game calls the back rooms. As many of you may know, this is an alternate like
Сколько
dimension
было рано
with
СПД?
levels to
А вот
living
откройте и
spaces, all of that
посмотрите.
fun stuff. This is because of Object 83, which is like
Рано
releasing all
СПД
this
они не
gas, which is
помнят.
making, the people studying it that found it originally go aggressive and get angry, and it started working.
55-30 у него был ран.
And check it out to the back rooms. So we're going to see it a couple of times. For now, we're just going to go down towards the green lights and warp back in.
55-30 у СПД. Я вам даже написал.
Level has a lot of lever pulling. So we're going to turn that one off, but So yeah, all the weird stuff going on in this level is because of Object 83. We're going to do a short skip through the elevator shaft here.
Towards the bottom of this elevator shaft, BT's going to pause. It's going to stop his momentum.
Yeah, so when you pause when you're falling down, you just like stop all momentum, and then when you unpause, you can just hold forward and just slip right over the gate. If you fall all the way down, it's not a big deal. You can just do another like series of jump kicks to get over it, but once we've triggered this, we're going to go back into the back rooms. And yeah, so this is like where all the horror stuff for the game is kind of located. Instead of being spread out, more like the Fear franchise where it kind of mixes it in between. This kind of saves it more for one level in particular. There's a little bit here and there, you know, with Jorvik Castle and the Enforcer and whatnot, but...
And I will say, like, there's a lot of side quests that you can do, the side missions, and those also have some really, really cool, spookier content.
I think everyone's favorite side mission's the really creepy house with the TV basement. If you've played the game, you probably know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
if not, it sounds really crazy. But yeah, I definitely recommend picking up this game. So if you want to run it, we are more than welcome to have you. You can run so many different categories. But if you just want to play casually, you know, support the devs. And here we come to the final arena of this level. That's Object 83 over there, that big glass pillar. And there's a little bit of a fight that goes with it, but nothing too seriously. We don't have to fight it itself, so you're going to pick up the grenade. And now we need to hit 3 different flares, which will trigger like a little slow-mo effect when we get near them. And that will start the fight. The autosave. Okay, I missed the one. It's probably the one up top. Yeah.
Nice.
So now the enemies spawn in predetermined elevators. There's a health bar for Subject 83. Like I said, we don't fight it at all, so I don't quite know why it has a health bar, but so you're going to check out a couple of grenades over here.
Легитимный ран.
We're all dead.
Just a couple for good measure, you know.
Yeah, so after you kill off one elevator of enemies, then it's going to take a little bit for the fuse boxes to actually let you interact with them. This white lightning is going to come around.
Ну, Трепанг хорош, но я не знаю, я не из тех, кто его оценил. У него есть глупая система с... Как называется это? Со столом, вот. База абсолютно лишняя. Вот. Как-то стали забывать о том, что во времена Xbox 360 прямое линейное приключение было прям отличной темой. Трепанг? Ну, как стрельба, да, стрельба клевая.
Oh, wow. Is that the new one? All right. Splitting this donation to the Lost Judgment incentives and the Baldur's Gate 3 all-axe run because a bonus run means a longer AGDQ. Keep up the fantastic work, everyone. And we have a $25 donation from Bean saying, here are 5 tickets to the $5 train for the Lost Judgment incentives and the $2 million goal for Baldur's Gate. Let's keep GDQ going as long as possible. Remember, the Lost Judgment incentives get met first, and if we meet those, then you have more time to get to Baldur's Gate 3, that all-axe run. We've raised over $92,000 out of the $250,000 for Baldur's Gate 3.
Продолжается сбор donation инцентива на BG3.
And if you remember that area that I kept failing at the beginning of the level, hopefully you did. It was just a couple minutes ago. We will be seeing it again very shortly, even though we're at the end of the level. So we're going to go over here. Now that everything has been flipped on, we can fire the laser. You can die here, but the enemies tend to just have Stormtrooper aim and just miss every bullet. So if you pay real close attention, you might see that beginning part of the level. It's a little hard to notice. Yeah, so we never hit the deload trigger for it, so it just stays permanently on the map. Luckily, it doesn't cause any lag or any issues like that, but...
It do look funny.
There's like a helicopter just flying around.
Yeah, so we blew up Object 83, and we're getting rescued. And at this point, they're like, all right, you have enough information, you've gathered enough intelligence, we're ready to go fight the big bad Horizon CEO, who's also a former subject, Subject 78, very old subject. He started... Horizon started doing all this testing on different stuff, and his investors pulled out, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're kind of a bad guy, so we're going to turn on you." But Horizon HQ is definitely the hardest level overall. It doesn't have the hardest trick. I think that's Slate 14, and that first big out of bounds we did. But just overall, there's 3 big skips that we have to do, and they're all a little bit spooky. But it has some of the greatest music. And a game with great music, I don't say that lightly.
Yeah.
The track for this and towards the end is just, it's so good. Gonna pop up in the sewers. We're just gonna kind of do some kicks.
All teams in position.
106, once you get those bombs planted, we'll begin the assault.
Yeah, we're not going to get those bombs planted.
Все.
I'm sorry.
Сейчас начнется самое интересное, потому что по сюжету тут как бы бомбы. Все. Но мы практически сразу же смогли.
The save does place you the way that you're facing it, so it's a little bit nicer. So I do it backwards.
И сможет ли он с первого раза это сделать?
Nice.
О, хорошо.
Like I think Muffin was describing earlier, it's basically like a basketball.
Он автосейв, если что, взял спиной, потому что так удобнее будет, если что-то пойдет не так.
It's very, very tiny.
Felt
Ох.
close, though.
It always does.
There it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that warps us back up to the elevator a little bit further on in the level.
И мы вернулись в лифт.
And making our way down towards the actual horizon.
Всего-то добраться до определенных текстур.
Take out an enemy just to get a little bit more momentum. And we're just full speed towards the end of this game. So we're actually going to drop off the grenade launcher. As much as I love it, there's something a little bit better for the end of this level. Somehow we have a breach charge that we just never picked up. So we're going to pick up the minigun. This thing's amazing. But we're just going to hold on to it for a little bit. To use the shotgun.
Поднимаем
Run past them.
миниганчик.
About any of these nerds. We just want the CEO.
Полностью игнорируем первых противников. Ну как, противников в этой локации. Нам надо поставить просто брич-чардж. Пробивной заряд. И пропускаем большой бой в лобби, который у нас был бы благодаря вот этому вот прыжку.
Yo, did that work? That was so fast. Like that was super fast. Yeah.
Ох.
Yeah, so you can tell by the way that like it kind of lags for half a second. We're just going to skip this elevator.
Тут аплодисменты от того, что скип получился практически сразу.
One of my favorite tricks, and the music is just, this is my favorite song.
Hey, we're speed running out here.
Horizon is finished. There's nothing to die here for.
So a big kick to get out of bounds.
Yeah, this is a super cool sequence of kicks here.
Not quite.
Ну выжив. Давай, запрыгни. Ой-ой-ой. Ой-ой-ой-ой.
So I could use a little bit of focus in slow-mo, but I need to save it kind of for this jump. It's just the trickiest one to land on. A couple of more scary kicks to go through, and then we are pretty much home free with this level. One kick there, one kick back there.
Oh, nice.
Wow, all we have to do is avoid a
Пинок
trigger that
тут,
will
пинок
load in the
там.
next part and keep us out of bounds. We're just going to go around that and load in the next part with us inbounds. And on to Anton, who's over there in his bed. He's trying to upload his brain with all these jars. This fight is really, really just rough. Luckily, the brain in the jar is just over there, and we're just going to use the minigun to blast it.
Вот там вот, если что,
That's that boss.
Let's go.
босс-вертолет, который, к сожалению, испарился из-за того, что у нас пулемет. Босс-вертолет, пулемет, и все. Вот так вот. Пулемет против босса-вертолета.
Upload canceled.
You got time for a couple more donations here?
All right, we have a $50 donation from Chad saying, make big number go up. And a $25 donation from Mad Cyclist, Mike Cyclist maybe, saying 2 million hype? We're not there yet, but dress for the job you want, really, honestly. We are at 1.6 million, $26,000. We have a couple of incentives. We have crossed the $9,000 mark out of the $50,000 needed for Super Amon. In the very next run, Lost Judgment, we're a little over 92,000 to get Baldur's Gate 3 All Acts. And once we get 2 million overall, we'll also get Baldur's Gate 3 any percent.
Yep, so this is coming on like the final
А,
part of the level.
Baldur's Gate 3 не процент только на случай, если добьют 2 миллиона.
But yeah, this is a great
Ага.
cutscene with a great
Там
music drop, so
стоит еще условие.
play.
Ага. Это бонус ран.
Inspired, I would say.
Мгм. А, нет. А, да. 92 тысячи долларов из 250 тысяч собрали необходимых для разблокировки Baldur's Gate.
To terminate us and go on with subject 107, but we're going to break the cycle with a handy dandy pistol. Any smilers in chat? That was a. I'm gonna try that. There we go. So this level is a little bit rough because we're going to go for a pretty risky strat. I'm a little bit underestimate so far. And if we mess it up, we'll go for a little bit more safety. But we're going to get up here to explode this door.
Если не совсем понятно, попробуйте повторить вот хотя бы первые пару трюков относительно того, чтобы выйти за пределы экрана. Вы поймете то, что это немного другой уровень понимания игры, когда вам надо выйти за границу уровня, дабы условно задиспаунить противника. Из-за того, что в базовый момент геймплея игры вам приходится добавлять то, что вам надо понимать, в каких местах разработчики могут оставить текстуру. Надо понимать, в каких местах разработчики ставят триггер. Надо смотреть, как триггер задевается, не задевается. Посмотреть, как триггер себя ведет, если вы условно делаете его не так, как обычно. Это такая большая исследовательская часть, которую зачастую делают даже люди, которые не ранят игры, которым просто интересно заниматься условной реверс-инженерией, которые хотят понять, как в игре построены текстуры, локации, триггеры. А раннеры это делают в те моменты, когда условно им становится скучно, например, основную категорию ранить, либо они хотят усложнить себе геймплей, потому что то, что сейчас он делает, требует переповторять огромного куска забега, если он делает что-то неправильно. То есть наказание за ошибку выше. Плюс в таких вот текстурах ООБ и подобном очень большие проблемы с тем, чтобы ориентироваться на чем-то. В общем-то, это дополнительное усложнение тому, что и так понятно для раннера в виде стандартной механики игры.
So unfortunately now it's a hat face, you know, like. When I was grinding attempts back home, I used to put like a WR for world record, and it's always kind of embarrassing when you do that and you don't actually get a good skill.
It's a good way to lose a run.
Oh yeah, you showboat a little bit and you do So sit down, little bro.
Кстати, зачастую стопроцентные раны проще any%. Там, где все собираем, проще, чем собрать практически ничего из-за того, что у вас недостаточная прокачка в РПГах особенно заметна, где вы прям на минимальном опыте проходите какие-то сложные моменты, за счет этого вы теряете больше времени. А в 100% условно собрав все усиления, вы там за секунду вносите какого-то сложного босса. Привет. Legend of Zelda, которая была на 100% со всеми скипами. Все так же. Большая часть боев проходит в ООБ для экономии времени. Вот здесь вот требуется, например, очень точно отработанные движения, потому что... Оп, все, время.
107 and you get this big, awesome cutscene with the bomb going off and everything. But yeah, for some reason there's a
Подвел
trigger
нас
there.
с
Just
СПД.
instantly ends it. Gives you a link to a Discord saying, hey, mission accomplished. You can go back to the safe house and play on
Быстрее,
hard
чем ран
difficulties. You can
СПД
check
на
out all the
русскофоне.
different, horde modes and whatnot.
Эх,
But that's been
СПД.
Trepang2.
Надо
Thank you
было
guys so much
быстрее
for having me.
пробегать.
Getting this off backup was incredible. Being able to run two
Все
different
претензии к
runs on
вашим
this event
пунтосам
was crazy.
можно
But if you're
предъявить
looking for
СПД,
more of this,
поскольку он
tutorial on
не
YouTube,
смог
youtube.com/bloodthunder. All
быстро
my stream notes
пройти.
on there, tons of FPS, horror, puzzle games, and I tend to stream
Сейчас будет
every day that I can. 8 p.m. to
чекпоинт.
4 a.m. is my go-to time, but sometimes it differs. So you can find me at twitch.tv/bloodthunder. Follow these two amazing gentlemen back here, Covert Muffin and Maxi Lobes, awesome runners, great friends. And shout outs to, once again, all the tech staff that make this event amazing, and everyone in the crowd for being awesome, and everyone at home for
Будет
donating.
Lost Judgment, any %. Там, если что, ООБ нет. Estimates время ожидаемое на